Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. As I was diving into the source material for this, it hit me. Most of us are unknowingly following a script that practically guarantees we stay average. We're out here trading decades of our time for a paycheck and buying liabilities that we kind of trick ourselves into thinking are assets. Well, today, we're tearing up that script. We are going to look at the actual blueprint for generational wealth.
So, here is how we're breaking this all down. 1. Escaping the normal trap. 2. The wealth operating system. 3. The mechanics of compounding. And 4. Building out your asset portfolio.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, escaping the normal trap. This is all about unlearning mediocre advice. You've probably heard people tell you to just be realistic, right? Well, when they say that, they aren't actually measuring the market or your potential. They're basically measuring your ideas against the size of their own lives. If they haven't seen it done, they call it unrealistic. They see standing out as dangerous. But the wealthy reality is that you absolutely have to take productive risks, stand out to attract opportunities, and relentlessly build your options. This really gets to the heart of it. Normal advice sounds so mature, doesn't it? It sounds like wisdom. But playing it perfectly safe actually trains you to avoid the exact moves that create extraordinary outcomes. Think about it. If you spend years always choosing the safest possible route, safety stops being a strategy. It literally becomes your identity. And that just makes you fragile.
So, what's the alternative to playing it safe? Well, it's definitely not reckless gambling. It's what we call a productive risk. This means starting the business, taking the time to learn a really hard skill, or setting up that meeting that kind of intimidates you. And the beauty of this? Even if the whole venture completely fails, you still walk away with a new skill, a new contact, or a sharper reputation. Mathematically, you are left stronger than when you started.
Moving on to section 2, the wealth operating system. Let's look at the habits of the 1%.
Here's the thing. Wealth isn't some magic event. It's a habit. The top 1% operate on a pretty brutal hierarchy. They tackle their big, progress-moving work first, way before anyone else can clutter their calendar with busy work. They consume information to actually grow, not just to escape reality by scrolling. And they deliberately put themselves in rooms where they are the least impressive person there. It forces them to level up.
Now, 14.6. When I first saw this number in the source material, it absolutely blew my mind. A massive 13-year study found that 14.6 is the exact number of extra years the top 1% of income earners live compared to the bottom 1%. Why? Simply because they treat their physical health as their primary operating system. If you're exhausted all the time, you look at a great opportunity and just see a risk. Good health gives you the ultimate luxury, which is time. And those extra 14.6 years of life are absolutely vital, because compounding needs time to work its magic. Look at this comparison. Investing just $500 a month in an S&P 500 index fund over 30 years yields over $1.1 million. But that exact same money, just sitting in a standard savings account, you're looking at a painful $27,000 in profit. Time in the market is literally the ultimate multiplier. All right, section 3, the mechanics of compounding. It's time to build the wealth machine. Okay, this wealth flywheel right here, this is the beating heart of this entire explainer. Most folks get this completely backwards. They earn money and then immediately spend it to look rich. But the wealthy flywheel works entirely differently. You earn income, you use that income as fuel to buy assets like stocks, real estate, or businesses. And then you only spend the cash flow that those assets produce. The absolute golden rule here is to never kill the machine just to fund your lifestyle. Your income is the fuel, your assets are the engine, and the dividends are the output. Reinvesting those returns is how you keep the whole shebang running forever. You really have to start thinking in decades rather than months, and just leave that principle completely untouched. And to track the health of this machine, you have to obsess over your net worth. It's super simple. Everything you own minus everything you owe. A massive salary doesn't mean a thing if you're quietly drowning in credit card debt and liabilities, right? Your salary is just what someone pays you. Your net worth is what you actually get to keep. Which brings us to section 4, building your asset portfolio. Let's talk about the vehicles of freedom. Now, before you go out and buy a single stock or business, you really need to understand this staggering piece of data. 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation. Let that sink in. And 60% of that destruction comes from a breakdown of family trust and communication, while another 25% is just due to unprepared heirs. Look, if you pass down the money without passing down the financial wisdom, the wealth is simply going to evaporate. Next up, we need to acquire our defensive protectors. Productive farmland is an incredible asset because, well, they literally aren't making any more of it, and it historically offers a solid 10.29% return floor. Then you've got hard stores of value, like gold and Bitcoin, which act like insurance against the currency being debased. And finally, index funds. Yeah, they might be boring, but boring is beautiful when it mathematically beats 85% of highly paid Wall Street managers over a 15-year period. All right, once your defense is locked in, you deploy capital into asymmetric accelerators. Think about AI tool orchestration. Today, one person with a laptop can literally do the work of a 10-person team. Or consider small business acquisitions. Instead of going through that grueling, risky startup phase, you can just buy an existing, profitable business from a retiring baby boomer and instantly acquire reliable cash flow. And then we reach the absolute holy grail, infinite leverage. Owning intellectual property, digital real estate, or just having a rock-solid reputation lets you build something once and leverage it 1,000,000 times over. Something like an audience or a patent has an almost zero marginal cost to reproduce. In an economy where everyone is competing for attention, owning the distribution channel is the ultimate power. Ultimately, the whole goal of stocking up these assets is to shift your life away from active income and toward business equity. Active income basically forces you to trade your absolute best hours for a salary that has a hard ceiling. But business equity? It removes that ceiling completely. It just keeps growing, whether you're sitting at your desk or halfway across the world. So, treat your assets like a highly tuned machine. You absolutely do not need to build the next billion-dollar tech unicorn. Actually, scratch that, it's way simpler. You just need to acquire and systemize assets that generate reliable cash flow. You build it, put the systems in place, and then you step away to enjoy life totally on your own terms. All right, so we've covered the mindset, the flywheel, and the specific vehicles you need. The entire blueprint is right in front of you. But, information without execution is really just entertainment. So I have to ask, which three of these assets are you going to start building in the next 90 days? Because the clock on those 14.6 years, it's already ticking. Are you going to keep building someone else's machine, or are you finally ready to build your own?